Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another show of American religion and world events, where we discuss through the Bible and Scripture accurately and discuss issues from the past, present, and future. A lot in the future, but things are getting crazy. Things are getting out of hand. I decided today that my theme will be the American Constitution and the separation of church and state. It's a good topic, the latter because of, if not all you people realize, that the church that I go, the Danbury Baptist Church, the Church of Danbury, Connecticut, got a letter sent by Thomas Jefferson when he was office to the church. It's hanging up in a wall about the separation of church and state because they were very concerned about what was going on at the time. Yeah, that sounds familiar. Yeah, I can't wait to get to the First Amendment, which I'm going to do now. And I have a separate article about Thomas Jefferson. I paraphrased it because it's too long and it'll take up too much time. But I don't want to bore you to death with details. I want to try to interact and talk and not read throughout the whole show because that's boring. I wouldn't want to watch that either. But okay, amendment number 1. This is the big one. I have a big problem with this one. Protects the freedom of religion, speech, and the press, as well as the right to assemble and petition the government. They want to take away your rights. They want to take away your freedom of speech. This is wrong. If we don't like something in this country, we have to stand up. There's a lot of hot issues. The economy is horrible. I think it's even worse than back in the Depression. But the one thing, there's a lot of similarities to the 30s because, you know, when the Depression hit, they went into gangsters, which we have now, but they have bigger weapons, which is scary. But that's another story, more dangerous weapons. But the main difference I found is that they were able to get out of it. It doesn't look like we're going to get out of it. It just gets worse and worse. Well, I'm just waiting for Lord to take me home. He can come and get all his people and we're out of here. Because I'm tired of this disgusting planet. Also, these kids are brainwashed with rap music, commit violence, want to be career criminals, tattoos, homosexuality. The list is so long, it's getting longer by the day. I don't like this. You know, and I'm hearing some bad stuff. There's going to be probably lawsuits and privacy acts will fight. We already have technology through control. My pastor got caught speeding in Philadelphia. He didn't need a cap. He got caught on a camera. And he was mad. And also I forgot to tell him that speed pass, another communistic speed pass, you go through the toll booth. There was a story on National Public Radio, which is www.nationalpublicradio.com, that had an issue about a guy was speeding up to the booth and he got a ticket because they had a camera. That's control, folks. That's a violation of your rights. And as far as the camera situation, because there's cameras all over Danbury, oh, they said it's for traffic control. My rear-ended is to spy on us, just like the book 1984 by George Orwell. He was way ahead of his time and he was right on base. If you haven't read it, maybe I'll do half a show about it. I'm not going to discuss it here because I haven't read it in a long time, but it's pretty bad. A lot of this stuff, you know, from the government and the police and everybody else's police states, he talks about a lot of stuff that's happening now. He even predicted cameras all over London, and that's what they have because they have a League of Nations over there, all different races. And some of them are not too good, and you know which ones I'm talking about, and it's not the British. Yeah, I have a problem. I have a serious problem with some of the stuff that's going on with the government's pulling, and it's just crazy. And if you think they're going to fix this economy, you're crazy. Security guard, my friend Bob, I can't remember his last name, older gentleman, said you'll never see it in your lifetime, and you know what? It's looking true. Because Obama's sitting there preaching lies and things that he's not going to be able to do. So I don't see him getting elected next time. I just don't. Basically, I don't see it. Well, because he's, yeah, that's fine. Protect our country from terrorism. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. Well, yes, I do. It's a little over securitized nation. They're getting a little crazy with it. But if these are, it's funny because is this a coincidence? I haven't seen a big terrorist attack in here since 2001, and it's not that I don't want to, but it makes me feel strange. But I don't know, because you can't trust what they do. They don't tell you everything. Too bad I can't get the declassified files of what's going on now. Or at least before pre-9/11. I mean, I think the economy's that's gonna kill him. He won't get reelected. And I don't have anything about black people, because I have a lot of black friends, but you thought this guy was gonna, like, perform a miracle and rectify the economy? Only the Lord can do miracles. Face it. And a lot of you African American Christians know what I'm talking about. Okay, since we started off with Amendment number 1, I got an article from wallbuilders.com. You should check it out. Some of it's a little radical, but it does have articles from the past. Man, our forefathers must be rolling over there in their graves. Most specifically, Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin. Probably Washington, too. The Separation of Church and State by David Byron. This came from 2001. In 1947, in the case Everson versus Board of Education, the Supreme Court declared the First Amendment had erected a wall between church and state. That wall must be kept high and impregnable. We could not approve the slightest breach, and the separation of church and state, phrase which they invoked and which today becomes so familiar, we take it for the exchange of letters between President Thomas Jefferson and the Baptist Association of Danbury, Connecticut, shortly after Jefferson became president. The election of Jefferson, America's first anti-federalist president, elated many Baptists since the denomination by and large was also strongly anti-federalist. This political disposition of the Baptists was understandable from the early settlement of Rhode Island in the 1630s to the time the federal Constitution in the 1780s. The Baptists had often found themselves suffering from centralization of power. Guess what? We still are. Consequently, now having a president who not only had championed the rights of Baptists in Virginia, hey, Tom, but also had advocated here. That's a Christmas tree joke. He's from Virginia. He lived in Virginia for a while, so he comes from a southern mentality sometimes, but he's a good guy. The centralization of government powers. The Danbury Baptists wrote Jefferson a letter of praise on October 7th, 1801. I'm going to skip down. I'm not going to read that because it's not necessary. However, in the same letter of congratulations, the Baptists also expressed to Jefferson their grave concern of the entire concept of the First Amendment, including the guarantee of the free exercise of religion. Now, you hear this, because the government is going to try to won't be able to pray. What they're doing in foreign countries is one day going to come here, and you got to put a stop to these people. Now, God is going to get you for this. I even think he's going to get him for doing them in the foreign countries, the way they treat people over there. You go against God, you will lose. In short, the decision of protection for freedom, exercise of religion in the Constitution suggests by the Danbury Baptists that the rights of religious expression was government given, thus alienable. I'm having trouble talking today, I don't know why. Rather, that God gives, hence, regulate religious expression. This was possibly to which they strenuously objected unless, as they have explained, some religious practice caused him to work ill to his neighbor. Jefferson understood this concern. It was also his own. In fact, he made numerous declarations about the constitutional inability of the federal government to regulate, restrict, or interfere with religious expression. No power over freedom of religion is delegated to the United States by the Constitution, Kentucky Resolution 1798. Jefferson believed that the government was to be powerless to interfere with religious expression for a very simple reason. He had long witnessed to the unhealthy tendency of government, boy does that sound like today, to encroach upon the free exercise of religion, as he explained to Noah Webster. Thomas Jefferson had no intention of allowing the government to limit, restrict, regulate, or interfere with public religious practices. He believes, along with the other founders, that the amendment had been enacted only to prevent federal establishment of a national denomination, a fact that he made clear in a letter to a fellow singer of Declaration of Independence, Benjamin Rush. And I'll just read this one to what he said. The clause of the Constitution which secured the freedom of the press covered also the freedom of religion. He gives to the clergy the very hope of obtaining an establishment of a particular form of Christianity through the United States. As every sect believes its own from the true one perhaps hopes for his own, but especially the Episcopalians and the Congregationalists. The returning good sense of our country threatens the abortion of their hopes, and they believe for any portion of power confined to me will be exerted in opposition to these schemes, and they believe rightly. Yeah, Jefferson's one of my favorite presidents. He was on the ball. He also said one famous quote, "The government who gives all you want will eventually take it away," which isn't the exact wording, but that's basically what he's saying. Go online and look Jefferson quotes, do a search engine. I didn't do that, but I got enough to talk about today. Oh, right to assemble and petition the government. Oh, they're violating that one too. People, take pictures of a building. I heard on 911 told them to get off and not do it, and cops were really paranoid, so they arrested some people in Western New York and a couple other. It's on NPR.com. I got this off. I was listening one Saturday, and they're breaking that one. So you know what? That angers people, and that's probably why we have the flash mobs in England in the summertime. It was disgusting what they were doing. Tearing up buildings, lighting buildings on fire, throwing similarly Molotov cocktails. They were doing it on their phone. It's called a flash mob. Just another technology, gangs through technology. That's what I call it. I think that's a good name for it because that accurately describes what they are. Man, they tore London up and they said, well, unemployment, whether they're lazy, they're bored, they have too much time on their hands, whatever you want to call it. That's a bad situation, and I fear that it's coming here. And especially in Danbury with all these illegal immigrants, it really gets scary. Well, they don't want you to protest. They want to control everybody. Same thing on the economy. They don't want anybody to have a secure job and make decent money like the CEOs. How are we supposed to live here? And you keep raising the cost of living. What the hell? What's going on with this? This next one is a biggie. This one I dedicate to my late brother-in-law, Wayne DeAndre, who was a firm believer on this one. Protect the right to bear arms. Why do I get the feeling they're going to take that away? I don't think they can. There's too many guns out there. And it's worse like in Russia. I mean, the crime's even worse. Imagine that. I wouldn't want to go over there, but that's one of the danger zones. But this is when late Charlton Heston, who was president of the NRA, brought a rifle on stage to talk. An old one. It wasn't loaded. It was probably a revolution or a civil war. It looked like that big flintlock they used to use. He did it to express a point. God rest his soul. He was the Hunters. Ted Nugent, another one, a great rock star, one of my favorite rock stars. Go on his website. You think Big T and you think I'm bad. You should go talk to him. I heard a night on Rockline that was unbelievable. He said the animal rights activist has an IQ of a brain dead turd. Well, he's always been radical. I've seen him and his filthy mouth in concert. Yeah, T's going some trouble. He dedicated a video to his wife, and he said it was one of Nugent's called "Kiss My Rear End." But he was saying that a long time before that song came out. Trust me, and then some. But yeah, Wayne said, and I think I got this from Nugent. Nugent said the Second Amendment is my gun permit. He's very staunch because he hunts. He occasionally tours, not as much as he used to, but he loves to hunt. And the problem isn't with the hunters; it's with these kids. You get easy access to get guns and the semi-automatics and AK-47s, the real bad ones. It's too easy for this thing with doing background checks. Obviously, isn't doing the job. They have to. I mean, I think people kill people, not guns. But that's a real hot one. The first two are hot. Amendment number 3 prohibits the force of quartering soldiers out of wartime. Some of these are just going to read because I don't know what they exactly mean. Prohibit. Oh, this is another beauty. They're really. Amendment number 4 prohibit unreasonable search and seizures and set out requirement for search warrants based on a probable cause. It's in the Constitution. Well, they use the Patriot Act as a tool so they can search anybody. Oh, you might be a terrorist. I don't know. This is a tough one. I don't know how they work this in the court system. If you go, I think they still throw it out, but I'm not exactly sure. See, the government wants to write their own version of the Constitution, which is communism, Marxism, and socialism. Nazism, which is basically socialism, whatever you want to call it. Oh, number 5. Selects out rule for indictment of grand jury and eminent domain. Oh, we had that in New London here. It protects the right to due process. Prohibits self-incriminating and double jeopardy. Right to due process and the for getting arrested. Like they have to read you your rights, your Miranda rights of 1966, because he just arrested some guy for rape and he complained about it. So that's how they adopted. They have to, when they arrest you, they have to do it. If they don't, you can get a lawyer and sue because that's a violation of your rights. They have to read you your rights. Because that's bull too. Because protect number 6. Protect the right have a fair and speedy public trial by jury, including the rights notified of accusations to confront the accuser, to obtain witnesses, and to retain counsel. Now this is another one. You don't get a fair trial here anymore. It's guilty before proven innocent. Now it used to be the other way around. They do things a lot differently. Well, that's why the court system, whole judicial system needs to be redone. You got guys getting arrested 80 million times for drugs and they're still not doing any jail time. What does that tell you? Corruption there? I think so. And I'm not accusing anybody specifically. I'm saying I use generalizations. I don't like to have people call up and harass me for it, especially the police, because, well, you know, my friend, he's gotten run-ins with the law about what he said on his show. So I'm trying to watch it. But I want to speak in a professional manner and cleanly. I don't need to swear like I used to. Number 7, we did that. 8, prohibit excessive fines and excessive bail as well as cruel and unusual punishment. There's another one they violate. When you get arrested, they give you a tune-up. Oh, I don't know what happened. He slipped on the floor. Yeah, right. Excessive bail, that's up to the shift commander, the lieutenant, or the captain who assigns the bail. Maybe some of the people getting arrested are being overcharged. I see some hot bails for minor stuff. That's a little out of the way out. I don't know what they're doing. Well, if the city's in trouble for money, then they gotta, find a way to cough it up. I'm surprised they haven't brought in spitting on the sidewalk to make some money. Hey, that's a good idea. That's disgusting. You're driving down the road and you see somebody spit. That's disgusting. That's the kind of low-life dirtbags we got living around here. Number 9, asserts the existence of enumerated rights retained by the people. Limit the powers of the federal government to those delegated to by Constitution. And that's the problem today, because they've gotten too big. Like Obama, whenever we get a Democrat, the government grows bigger and we lose our rights. It's like the rights are flying south. That's a big time. That's another one that's an abuser. Because they abuse their, their commies and socialists, so they want to control, have like we're puppets and do as they command. This country's going to get really bad. I'm telling you, they already ruined it, so. Number 11, immunity of states from suit from out-of-state citizens and foreigners not living within state borders. Lay the foundation for sovereignty immunity. Hey, this sounds like the illegals are going to get immunity protection because they want to keep them here. I don't know why. I mean, some of them are, don't get me wrong, some of them are nice, but some of them are scum and criminals that they need to get their butt kicked over the border today. The criminals. Some of them are actually fairly nice, but some of them are lowlifes, and they probably got rap sheets in Mexico as from here to the border. Number 12, revise presidential election procedures. Abolish slavery, and number 13, abolish slavery and involuntary servitude. Except as punished for a crime. Yeah, that's interesting. Number 14, define citizenship contain the privileges of immunity clause and due process clause and equal protection clause, and deals with civil rights issues. I'm skimming because I'm not going to read up these here. Not all. Number 16 allows the federal government to collect an income tax. This has got to go, folks. This is killing us. Taxes, they're taxing us to death. We don't have good paying jobs. We can't afford to live here now. And you want to tax us to death? Can't get blood out of a stone, Jack. This is unbelievable. I mean, as far as the tax, the rich ones like Warren Buffett should get taxed, and the people, it should be a flat tax, like my friend Dave said. It goes by a scale of what you make. That way you don't have to pay what you earn. Not because they figure out like doing something, charging you for whatever they want, like the landlords around here. The rents are, it's because the land and construction costs too much. Oh, bull, you're greedy. Don't have me, you're just slumlords. Don't even get me started on these people. Okay, let's see. I'm only looking at the ones that are really important. A lot of these, Number 19, biggest one they ever made a mistake. Establish women's suffrage. The guys stay home today and the women get the good paying jobs and they're career gals, but they're all nuts. I called my doctor's office. I won't tell you who it is, but they are all evil, sadistic women. She would not let me have an appointment until I paid off a previous balance. That's socialism. If something happens to me, my wife will sue them. She will own that building. I'm going to retaliate with that one because I'm really upset that they wouldn't. It's just lucky I'm so healthy. If something happens to me, she'll go ballistic on me. Okay. Limit the president to 2 terms or maximum of 10 years, i.e. if the vice president serves not more than one half of the president's term, he or she can be elected to a further 2 terms. They should have only one for the jerk we got there now. I don't want another 2 years of him. Okay, number... Let's see. Number 27 says prevent laws affecting congressional salary for taking effect until the beginning of the next session of Congress. These guys are getting overpaid too. They're greedy too. They get full health insurance. What do we get? The short end of the stick? What the hell is this nonsense? I don't know. I'm going to read so that's basically the reading that I've discussed. I mean, some of these are really hot issues. I mean, There has to be a solution to the economy somewhere. He has a job plan, but as far as Connecticut goes, to get good, I mean, even nationally, to get good paying jobs back so we can afford the cost of living, I don't see it. The only reason they have globalization is the crook executive officer, CEO of these companies, to make big bucks. They're the only ones that get paid well here. We get the shaft. And they can have the New World Order come in for more control. That's the only reason they want this. Oh, it's good for us to produce goods and, yeah, right. Ask China about the trade restrictions. And they want to invest in our economy to help it. So, somebody out there's got to get on the page and clean. You know, I don't advocate violence unless it's self-defense, and that's a different story. Like someone, home invasion, breaks into your house. But this is just wrong what they're doing. I mean, this is crazy. They're never going to fix this. Because globalization eliminates job, technology. It's technology is fine, but if you don't have a good paying job to afford to live here, then they keep raising it. Keep raising taxes and heat and food, and I'm even thinking of looking for another state to live in. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of Connecticut. Period. Do nothing governors. They don't do nothing. Tax, tax, tax. That's all they know. And greed. All right, chapter 1 of Isaiah. Second longest book in the Bible is 66 chapters or books. The longest is Psalms, and the Old Testament has 150. A message about Assyria. What sorrow awaits you, Assyrians, who have destroyed others, but have never been destroyed yourself. You betray others, but you have never been betrayed. What you are due when you have done this, you will be destroyed. When you are done betraying, you will be betrayed. But Lord, be merciful to us, for we have waited for you, but our strong army each day, and our salvation in times of trouble. The enemy runs at the sound of your voice. When you stand up, the nation flees. Uh-oh. Sounds like today. Just as caterpillars and locusts strip the fields of vines, so the fallen army of Assyria will be stripped. Though the Lord is very great and lives in heaven, he will make Jerusalem his home for justice and righteousness. In that day he will be your sure foundation, proving a rich store of salvation, wisdom, and knowledge. The fear of the Lord will be your treasure. But now, you brave warriors, weep in public. Your ambassadors of peace cry in bitter disappointment. Your roads are deserted. No one travels there anymore. The Assyrians have broken their peace treaty and care nothing for the promise they make before it witnessed. They have no respect for anyone. The land of Israel wilts in its mourning. Well, that sounds like today. Lebanon witnessed with shame. The plain of Sharon is now a wilderness. Bashan and Carmel have been plundered. But the Lord says, now I will stand up. Now I will show my power and might. You Assyrians produce nothing but dry grass and stubble. Your people will be burned up completely like the thorn bushes cut down and tossed in fire. Listen to what I have done, you nations far away, and your near knowledge they might. That's not the whole, that's just down to 13 because it's fairly long. I'll go with 33 verse 1 for a reference. Assyria continually broke on its promises, but demanded that others keep theirs. Oh, that sounds like the government and us. It's easy to put ourselves in the same selfish position, demanding our rights when ignoring the rights of others. What did I just read? Demanding our rights is ignoring the rights of others. Broken promises shatter trust. You hearing that, government? And destroy relationships. Determined to keep your promises. At the same time, ask forgiveness for past promises you have broken. Treat others with the same fairness you demand of yourself. Now that says it right there. It says also in Isaiah about Israel will mourn. Israel is mourning right now because it's in a very dangerous situation. It's Hal Lindsey explained it on a show one night. They've got Egypt on one side, which has got that nasty Muslim Brotherhood, which is a terrorist group. And then they've got on the other side, they've got the Palestinians who are angry because they're Arabs and they're pissed because they want to change the borders back to the pre-1967 borders. I know I already discussed this. They still have to honor the 1979 Accord, the Camp David Accord. And it was interesting. They said in 1948 there was a resolution. The Jews accepted it, but the Arabs turned it down. Because they'll be up on a hill, be able to shoot Israel in between the West Bank and East Jerusalem. I have to look on the map because I'm not sure. I think that's the part by the coast, but I'll have to look it up. I know I already talked about this, but danger, man. Bad situation. Well, like I said, the only thing Obama did, he went in there and sent the troops, and they stopped the murder and heathen activities to save soldiers, even because they were getting attacked. They tore the place up. It's pretty bad, man. You know, it's like, what's the matter with these? And they call us the Great Satan. Who's really the Great Satan? You are. Not us. Not us. Yeah, I blame all this aggravation that they're causing, people losing their jobs and creating undue stress. Stress does strange things to people. I don't think picking up a weapon and blowing away 50 people is the answer. The government needs to. I will agree with the pastor to pray for our government, but it's not looking good. But they need to figure something out. You can keep the global economy, but you have to figure out a way to keep the jobs, and it won't do it. I don't see a way they can do it because the competition from foreigners is too strict. Look at the like Christmas tree. They all those products made in China are people that are in a slave shop, don't make that much money, and they send all this stuff over here so they can get rich. This is ridiculous. But this is basically what we have. We have a communist dictatorship running this country. If Obama's acting like a dictator, and I'll tell you why, because he's doing executive orders, doing whatever he wants without asking the Congress, because he's supposed to act the Congress. What does it say in the Constitution about, which isn't there, but on one of the means is he cannot declare war. Only the Congress can declare war, not him. Okay, Excellency Obama, you're violating the Constitution. Besides not doing your job, which goes hand in hand. This guy's a real. I don't know what this guy's thinking, you know. Especially when you're on homosexuality and want to accept these people for votes. That's a sick way to get votes. Those people are vile and disgusting. There's something wrong with those people. Like I've said in the past, they need to take all those people and fence them off. You know, they need to keep them on one side of the country away from the normal people, Christians and the normal people out there. Because this is just bananas. I mean, I don't. Why? Because they called him a bigot and he was under pressure? Can't take the heat. Get out of the kitchen, bro. You know, this is a freaking bananas with these people. They just go and go and go, and things get worse and worse. Of course, we got electronic Pearl Harbor on the computer. You gotta watch out for viruses and scams and all kinds of criminal activity, cyber crime they call it. That's what the FBI calls it. So think about 9/11. As scary as a repeat of World War II, where they didn't talk to each other, like a surprise attack in Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941. Sounds like the same thing with 9/11. I don't know how they missed that. They tried once in 93. They needed a major whack job, like Osama bin Laden, to carry it out with his Al-Qaeda, since he's the one that found it. I remember when they were. That should have been a wake-up call right then and there. No questions asked. That should have been a wake-up call right there. They knew it was only a minor attack, but you know a bigger one was coming. How could they miss this? And that's the mystery. That's the mystery. I hate to use the word conspiracy, but I got a bad feeling about that. I mean, it's just we're not free anymore. They let our sovereignty down. They sold that down the river along with our jobs, and you know what? And our rights, and this is no good. This has to stop. Something's got to give at some point, and I don't know when that's going to be. I really don't want to see violence. I don't want to see a civil war and a revolution, and I'm not advocating it. That's should be only used as a last measure. But there's so many wacky people out. You don't know what they're going to do. Somebody gets mad and loses his house or loses his job or gets threatened by somebody. He's going to retaliate, just like the original Death Wish. The rise of vigilantism occurred after that movie came out, because that got it started about the guns. And of course, the end of the movie is the best. Are you going to behave in L.A.? Like, sure, man. Bronson was a great actor, but little tongue-in-cheek. But that caused problems after that movie because it increased the gun population, and they were worried about taking your law into your own hands. I don't know. It's just, I don't know where this country's headed, but it's certainly not good by any stretch of the imagination. And if Obama doesn't get elected, then the next guy's got a lot of, he's got a real mess to clean up. It's going to be hard for him to, I mean, especially the economy being the worst. I mean, it's bananas. And they said that people on the New World Order, the Bilderberg Group and the Trilateral Commission, look up on wikipedia.org and Committee for Foreign Relations, you'll get your answer. Or there's a video, I forgot the name of it, off Infowars.com with Alex Jones. I can't think of the name of it, but it talks about them building a North American Union from Mexico all the way up to Canada. Blame President Clinton for that one, for the NAFTA. And talks about a lot of bad stuff that's going on about bringing the New World Order in. I forgot the name of it. I think I'll look it up and I'll tell you on my next show. But if you go to the website, I think you'll find it. I think I can find it. I saw it on Comcast on T's old channel, and it was really scared me. It brought me to open my eyes to see really what's going on. Oh, they say, well, you don't have, unless you have any proof, that you can't back it up. Well, some of the stuff I say there's no proof, but kind of makes sense. You got to admit, especially George Bush Sr. his goodbye address to Congress warned of it. But there's a lot of stuff on there that I don't believe. But you know, like the scientific stuff with the meteors and the things out in space, that I would kind of believe. I know in my church there's the clash between the Bible and that the theory of evolution didn't happen. We didn't come from apes, rise up from apes, because of the Bible mentions in Genesis, the first book of the Old Testament. I think it's chapter 6 where he said the world is 6,000 or 8,000 years old, and the scientists say it's millions of billions, and it's a hot argument. I mean, I'd rather go with the Bible, but they said they have proof. People are finding stuff in their backyards in these areas of mastodons and all these reptiles and fossils, and I'm into archaeology, but that's a hot issue. I mean, as far as the rain, the Lord also said in Genesis that He would never flood the Lord for man's sake again. He only did it once for the animals, the creation of the animals in chapter 1 of Genesis. Go to Genesis, is a 50 chapter, but it's a great book. There's a lot of good messages in there. But that's in there about how the earth was created, and Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Also, chapter 19, one of my favorites, is Sodom and Gomorrah, where God destroys Sodom and Gomorrah because of the ill repute, and the angels told them to get out. The Lord would destroy the earth with fire and brimstone, with rain from the sky. What did they do? They went and have an incestual sexual relationship over a bottle of wine. That's disgusting. Kind of sounds like today, don't it? Got some perverts out there that are crazy. But Genesis is an important chapter. Hey, they say that's why they destroyed New Orleans, because of it was a city of repute. I think the next one on Sodom and Gomorrah list is going to be San Francisco. I went there in '87, late 1987 of December, for a 2-week vacation for California. The only time I've ever been there, and it was disgusting. They were lip locking and holding hands and walking up and down. Ugh. Yep. I got really, my first taste of homosexuality, I got really puked out. That was disgusting. But everything else was great in San Francisco. Alcatraz. I saw the Grateful Dead in Oakland Coliseum for 3 nights. Got to go down to the wharf, eat at a seafood restaurant. I went through Carmel by the Sea, where Clint was mayor. It was like Lake George on a boardwalk. I went through Monterey, where I've never seen blue water in my life, and sandy beaches. By Salinas, where John Steinbeck was born originally, because he was originally from California. But that's one thing about San Francisco I don't like. And they're here too. So, you know what? It was funny. I went into the pharmacy at the hospital to get meds, and there's one of them working there. And he gave me a dirty look. I guess he saw my show with D. I really got him mad. He gave me a scowling look. Sorry, dude. Doesn't fly with me. I cannot. The only sex is for marriage, and the only thing is man and woman, not man and man or lady and lady. That don't fly. That don't throw the bulldog, brother. Because it's disgusting. The Bible preaches of immorality and sin for homosexuals. In the end times, you're going to be in a hot place, and I ain't talking about freaking Florida. He's going to push that elevator down into the bowels of hell, and you're going to be there for an eternity. That's really where they should go. But my second choice would be have fence off a state like the late George Carlin said. Fence off, Nevada or Arizona, California. Hey, they should just put them all in California. Supposedly there's going to be an earthquake and California's going to split to an island, but I haven't seen any evidence of that. I've heard that talk, but I don't know. We had an earthquake in Danbury. My trailer was shaking, and she goes, "That was weird." I said, "That's a tremor." She goes, "How do you know?" Because I've been to California, and it happened when I was in the building working midnight security detail, and the whole building shook. And I called them at 4 o'clock and said, "You sure that was a tremor?" "Yeah, because the furnace." "Sure wasn't the furnace?" "No, the furnace doesn't shake the whole building. It does rattle a little bit because in that particular building, it's downstairs, but that was really the first couple of seconds I was scared. I just came back and sit down from one of my tours and walking around the building, and that woke me up too. Matthew 24 says there'll be earthquakes in various places. Nation will rise against nation. How accurate he was. I don't know much about seismology, which is the study of earthquakes, but there are a lot of small faults through Connecticut all over the United States. California people are laughing. Well, you know what? The last one was 5.6. It's going up, so the next one's probably going to be a bad one. Unless they have I don't know if they have the technology to pinpoint exactly. I don't know if they can do it. I'll have to look that up and let you know. But yeah, that kind of got me to be a Christian. Kind of sense a lot of friends talk to me about it. And tries to keep me on the straight and narrow. Sometimes I fall off, but if I'm able to get up, I will. It doesn't happen a lot. A lot of the stresses that are going on. It's very difficult financially, emotionally, a lot of personal issues. Um, it's weighing on me. You know, it looks like I'm going to go to another job. Thank God I don't have to go back there because I don't want to. The people are evil and sadistic. If that's not a form of slavery, I don't know what you call it. But that's what they want. They want more for less. You know, they can make billions of dollars in salary and comp and benefits, but they treat you like a slave and you don't make jack. That's communism. That's dictatorism. That ain't right. I mean, who the heck do these people think they are? I'm sure President Clinton does. Oh, I didn't do this to your country. My butt. It happened in your tenure, so you're responsible, buddy. You caused all this from the beginning. He did a show with the late Harry Russell, one of the best shows I've ever seen, where he asked Harry, God rest, he passed away several years ago. But he goes, well, Harry, I bet you're glad Clinton's gone. Goodbye, you draft dodger, son of Gaul. Goodbye and good riddance. Well, and it makes sense because when Clinton went to Yale, he studied Rhodes, had to be a Rhodes Scholar, study communism. That's probably where he got his start to be a commie. You know, I wish we had Joseph McCarthy, not in the 50s, but now there was the government would be in serious trouble. We could have a major witch hunt. Even though History Channel said McCarthy couldn't see a communist if he was standing in front of him. Today, that's really a tragic and different story, folks. Why they even concede to globalization. I have a book on it, but I haven't had the time to read it. When I get to it, I'll let you know what it's about. But they can say what they mean, but the way it looks like, it's not good for us. It doesn't benefit us. Every time they lay thousands and thousands of people off, it gets harder to find work. This is a joke. You need to get people retrained for the new areas that are going to have jobs, not the ones that don't. I mean, they're not doing their job. They'll let everybody down. How do you think the kids feel? Do you think they want to be career criminals? I don't think so. Every generation has rebelled against society, but they don't have a choice. What are they going to do? The college people can't find jobs, and they're working at McDonald's, and then the kids can't find anything either. So they got to have something to survive, even though it's not right. But this is just bananas. It's like back in Stalin's time. I mean, he suppressed the gangs in Russia as long as he could, but when Brezhnev got there, he let corruption and seethe and let them out of their lair. Yep, you can read any books on Russia, about communism and about Stalin or Brezhnev. Brezhnev is corrupt as bad as these guys over here. Some of the books I've read. He wanted someone to give him a bonus, so they gave him 10 Mercedes Benzes, and he's treating people lower in poverty and treating those people mean over there when he was in there. But God finally got him. He died a vicious death of cancer. They got him. Greed is evil. It's the worst thing on the planet. I should be making a little bit more than I am. I mean, I'm not saying that, but you got to make millions and millions of dollars just to have money. It's crazy. These people are nuts. I mean, you got people on assistance and food stamps here. This country is, people are getting angry. Government better watch out. Like I said, I don't advocate violence, but it's going to hit the fan one of these days, and it's not going to be pretty. I have to take a look at these new candidates. I want to see what their views are. So far, I only like Ron Paul because he would definitely go in and clean house, but whether he would be influenced when he got in there or not to, because I think that's what happens. They want to do things, and then they get in there, and then the puppet pulling strings tells them otherwise. So it's like, he has no choice but to follow the rules, whatever they want. I mean, there's no proof of that, but it certainly looks it. Oh, he said, quote unquote, we can't shy away from globalization. I wonder why. Well, I've told you why, because that's the reason. It's like they're ruining this country intentionally, and it's not good. This used to be a great area to live in. This is terrible. It's like a shootout at the OK Corral now. It's not funny. Even though the Danbury police has cleaned it up a lot, there's still more to go. You have the immigration problem, and that's a big problem here. ICE is they've worked with ICE to get some of these people out of here. So, and the worst thing, it causes more traffic, gridlock. This state is terrible. That in the Friday night we went up to the church, it was like unbelievable. It was gridlock. It was a parking lot all the way up, and it was terrible. It took us 3 hours and it should never take us 3 hours and 45 minutes to get to Camp Northfield. It's a 2 hour trip, but it's crazy. Oh yeah, we reconstructed the roads, but the traffic is still out of control. There's more and more people are coming here. One good thing they did is they built that exchange to bypass into Milford. They should have never stopped back in the late 70s. Oh, they probably ran out of money. Well, they should have dipped in their coffers and kept it going, because that would have been a big help. The people wouldn't have to in the Milford to come to Danbury. You got to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning just to get here. It was so bad. Like I said, they don't do their job. And it doesn't look like they ever will. Influence is a powerful thing. They're influenced by outside sources. I have no proof, but it certainly looks that way. And me and T are not the only two people talking about this. There's a lot of people out there, and a lot of people are waking up. Go to Facebook.com. You'll see it a lot. People are rebelling. People are sick and tired of being poor and out of work. Well, it's like the story from The Mask of the Red Death by Poe. The people in the castle reveled a joyous celebration as death premeditated outside the castle walls. They reveled and partied, but they got it in the end because death was waiting outside. That's a good parody for us in the government and our economy, because it's not that the Grim Reaper's waiting for us, but it's not looking good. No way. No way, Jack. This is freaking crazy. I mean, these people are bananas. What do you think? You're going to take away all the good paying jobs and nobody's going to hoot and holler about it? I don't think so, because that's why I'm doing this show. Yeah, I admit I'm rebelling, but I have good reasons. But, we have to wait for the Lord to come, and then we'll be gone. We'll get, as 1 Corinthians chapter 5 says, we have our new bodies. I'll do that one day, because that explains our ride into heaven. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 I will do, because that tells rapture is not in the Bible. Rapture is a made up word. It's called meeting up in the air, which you'll read in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. Talks about our descent into our going into heaven. We meet the Lord in the air and we go to heaven. Goodbye. I'd rather spend an eternity with God than have to deal with this nonsense. But this is making me crazy. I mean, I can't deal with this, all this stress and this financial and emotional problems. I can't deal with it. I'm suffering. I'm like a wounded animal. Like a lot of people. T's having the same problem. And you Christians want to pray for me or him? Please do. My prayer list is getting longer and longer every day. More and more people I know are getting sick. And it's terrible. And I have to pray for these people, because some of them are really good friends of mine. And not just sickness, it's the onslaught of attacks of daily life. It's like you're riding on the back of a dinosaur with the teeth marks on your backside. I mean, it's like a thorn in your hand. It's terrible. This is no way to live. I mean, you want to go be a career criminal and cheat and steal just to survive? That's not life. That's why they got to do something about this stuff, or you're going to have a rebellion and you're not going to like it. Trust me, it scares me. And as I said, I don't advocate violence, but it scares me what's going on, because people are dangerous. Usually the quiet ones are the ones you have to watch out for. And that's something you should keep in mind, because they just, permeate the society. And like, don't get me started on the post office. People will start shooting in there. I heard there's a lot of stress for management. Well, it must be, because they're the first ones to pick up a 9 and start shooting and blowing people away. And my question is, I wish I was a psychologist. I'd like to know, at what point, what are you thinking when you do this? And a lot of these are premeditated. They have it planned out. They don't ride around in a gun just because they want to show off. The premeditated means they intentionally planned on doing it. It's sick, folks. It's sick. So thank you, everybody. Anybody that wants to watch. I haven't got too many viewers, but maybe eventually I'll get some. I still do guest hosts with Big T. You can see it on YouTube and Facebook. So have a good day, and I'll see you again sometime.